It's not uncommon for INFPs to have these grand visions, these big ideas, and wanting transformative changes for their lives and their friends and the world. And yet, when it comes to bringing it into reality, manifesting it, creating it, we get overwhelmed. We don't know how to do it. The sheer scale of everything becomes overly daunting, and we get stuck in these cycles of procrastination and then excitement and progress and then delay and doubt. And this cycle makes our ideas remain just as that, as ideas, where they're not actually brought into reality. So let's break down how you can turn your dreams into manageable steps and actually make progress on them so that you can live a life that is more aligned with who you want to become and not who you were in the past. As an INFP, our personality type allows us to create tons of ideas. Our extroverted intuition, our auxiliary function, is all about brainstorming. It's about idea generation. It is an idea battery that is full of the desire to explore new connections and to take things from here and mash them together and innovate and see what happens. That is so fundamental to our personality type. But then we also have our introverted feeling as our dominant function, the core key hero within our psyche's fellowship, the Council of Eight, as I call it. And I call introverted feeling our soul. This is the soul character, whereas extroverted intuiting is the explorer. And the soul wants to do things that are aligned with what feels good to us, what feels right to us and our identity, and make sure all of the different characters within us agree and like, yes, this is a good idea. And that is like a restrictive bottleneck in a lot of ways for us to create all these different new potential pathways for ourselves. And the explorers say, no, just go do something new. Have fun. See what's out there. And introverted sensing, our tertiary function, our third function, is what I call the guardian. And this is about stabilizing, making sure that we know what to expect, making sure that things are familiar. Our inferior function, our fourth function, is technically called extroverted thinking. I call it the commander. It's about strategizing. It's about resource management, objectives, goals, achieving those, regardless of how we feel. And so the soul and the commander, as you would imagine just by thinking of those two names, often clash. It doesn't feel right to me right now. This is what we got to do. Suck it up. Just do the things that you need to do in order to achieve the goal that you said that you wanted to achieve. And those two voices, until you work on it, often have conflicts. So you have these four different voices going back and forth. Does this feel right to me? Who cares? Let's go, see what could happen. Did you check in with your past? Like, you tried this before and it didn't work out too well. So why would you want to try it again? And then the commander's like, just do it. Just get it done, right? Take some actionable steps towards it. And that creates tons of confusion and stagnation within us. And so there's a disconnect between what we really want to do in the world with all the different possibilities that we can take, and then actually making it happen. And on top of that, big dreams don't have a roadmap. The things that we imagine, the goals that we have, like if I could just change the world, like it would be so great to make sure that every person understood Myers-Briggs personality type and could use it in a positive way. That doesn't have a roadmap. Somebody has not necessarily done that before. Isabel Briggs Myers she made progress, tons of progress on it, but it's not something, and she's an INFP too, but it's not something that like has a templatized pathway to achieve, which is the amazing thing about video games. If you're playing an RPG, like, what steps you need to take, where you need to go. And now a lot of times it even highlights the path that you need to click. You can just click auto run or whatever, and it'll send you over there. Like, it took all the fun out of it, all the confusion as well. I used to just follow my ESTJ paladin friend around. he would start the quest and I'd be like, okay, I'm going this way because I couldn't be bothered to figure it out myself. It's a microcosm of real life. So how can we make progress on these big goals that seem daunting quite often? Well, I'll give you 6 steps that will help you make more progress on your big dreams once you get out of your way and start, approaching them with that conviction that you need to have in order to make big things happen in your life. And it will also motivate you too, because once you start making progress on it, you feel more alive. Once you start making decisions and movement aligned with who you want to become or who you really are underneath all that baggage, then you really start to feel more alive and you can wake up early in the morning just excited to work on a project. That is a great feeling. So first, define the dream. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that it's clearly defined. What is it that you want to achieve? What is the evidence procedure that shows that you have successfully achieved it? Like what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you taste? What do you smell? What is around you? Who is around you? Where are you? What time is it? Get very, very specific and clear. When you are setting a vision, it is not writing down the tasks. It's a vision, an image of who you want to become and what you are doing when that has been achieved. If you cannot see that, you cannot achieve it. So you need to get very specific on what it is that you want to achieve. Oftentimes when I'm talking with coaching clients, this is something that we all go through. I go through it too, okay? And it's something I constantly have to remind myself of. When I say, what do you want? We often say, no, I don't want this. I don't want to be miserable anymore. I don't want to be burnt out. I don't want to be exhausted. I don't want to be alone. Those are all things that you don't want. Those are not things that you do want. So when you set your goal and define your dream, make sure that it is a positive goal that you have visioned. Step 2 is to create mini goals. We need to have that timeline and break it down into smaller pieces. These need to be checkpoints along the journey. So if you want to write a novel, maybe the milestones, the checkpoints that you would create are like completing an outline, the first draft, revising it, finding a publisher, getting the artwork done for the cover. These are all things that need to happen along the way that will, once done, emerge into the completion of the goal. If you're thinking, I need to write a novel, you're probably not going to ever get started. But if you think, okay, today I'm going to go for a walk and I'm just going to use my phone and kind of dictate my ideas and then maybe get ChatGPT to summarize those in a more concise way or write an outline for me with that. That's way easier than I need to complete a novel. Step 3 is to actually do it again. Break down those goals into even smaller mini goals. So these tasks need to be actionable things, verbs, things that you will do, not just outline, but write the first chapter outline. It needs to be an actionable word because if there's any delay or confusion, we often find ways of distracting ourselves. So you need to write the action, the next action that you will take in order to achieve that thing. So it could be, again, to outline the first chapter. It could be create the protagonist and define the protagonist. Write the protagonist's backstory. Define the central conflict. These are mini goals within that first set of outlining the book, for example. And of course, this is just one way of writing a book. Okay, we're not actually specifically going into a book writing masterclass here, right? This is about goal setting. Step 4 is to schedule each task. You got your big dream and you've set up the mini goals and then you've broken those down into smaller actionable steps. Schedule them. Put them on a timeline and make it half that or shorter than you feel is enough time. If you set it for, okay, I'll finish it by next year or in 6 months, break it down to half of that because you can complete things in so much more speedy time. I don't think speedy time is the technically accurate word. You can do things faster than you assume that you can. And then put them on your calendar. One thing that I fought for a very long time is using my calendar. It felt too rigid. I wanted to be spontaneous. I wanted to do things when I felt inspired or motivated to do it. And once I got over that and really embraced the fact that if I put things in my calendar, it's actually more freeing because I don't need to think about it. I don't need to remind myself. I don't need to worry about it and siphon off this focus and energy. I can just put it in my calendar, set a notification, and likely go do something else. Enjoy my life. It really created a lot more freedom. And so when you schedule each task, you know what to do. You know your next step. You know that you're making progress, and you can feel more excited and more happy and more motivated as you make progress on the things that are important to you. Step 5 is, if possible, start with the easiest task. You want to create momentum. Once you start getting momentum and doing things, getting into action, then it becomes easier to continue that. Starting off is often the most difficult time. Like, I got to sit down and write this book and I'm just not really feeling it. But if you just tell yourself, I'm just going to sit down and put my hands on the keyboard and see what happens, you will likely make more progress, especially if you turn off the internet and close distractions. Just getting started is the most important thing, especially because you have outlined everything else. You know the steps, you know the actions, you've done all the conceptual stuff. And then it comes down to I actually have to jump into my sensory mode and do some tangible work on it. I don't really feel like that. I just want to think about it more. You can do that all day. You can find excuses for it all day, I'm sure. I can too. Once you make it small enough that it's easy to do and you just start, you start to create a bunch of progress towards. And step 6 is to regularly review and adjust. Once you set the course, doesn't mean that you don't need to think about it ever again, right? Create the plan and then adjust accordingly along the way. It's necessary, and it's going to help you make more progress too. Because if you sit down and reflect over what happened last week and you're like, actually, it didn't really work out too well when I started writing my book after lunch because I was tired, I was exhausted, just kind of food coma. So I'm going to move it to before lunch. Move it early in the morning. Wake up with the sun, get some coffee, sit outside, maybe get your cat, talk to your plant, and then begin. That might be the thing that creates the difference that makes the difference, that actually allows you to make progress on your goals. And you wouldn't know that if you didn't review and willingly adjust. Don't get stubborn on this is the way that it has to be because I said it, right? Adjust, allow yourself to be spontaneous within that sandbox that you've created for yourself. For me, this whole process is really clear when I think about my Path of Heroes Academy. It started as just ideas, tons of different ideas, and I kind of felt motivated by it. I thought it'd be really cool, but I couldn't quite figure out how to do it. Once I set a vision for myself and imagined what I wanted things to look like in a future where my course, my product, my mindset was more commonplace, it allowed me to feel inspired by it. And I was able to break it down into smaller goals, and then even smaller goals, and then actionable steps, right? I have all these different pieces that I want to go together, and I need to create the course, I need to create the worksheets, I need to make my models and mindset clearer around specific things. I need to practice these tactics with myself and with clients. Once I broke that down, and then I put it into actionable steps of write the script for the first chapter or write the outline for it, and then sit down, film it on Tuesday, edit it, upload it. there were specific tangible steps that felt motivating as I completed them. I was able to check them off my list. My commander was like, yeah, we got this, right? My soul was inspired. My explorer was thinking of new ideas, new possibilities, new ways of combining different things. And my guardian was able to look into like best practices and what worked and review and implement those strategies into the future lessons to templatize things and make it easier to achieve the next set of goals. By the way, if you want to learn about the 8 different characters within you and create characters for self-development, you can go to poha.geekpsychology.com, Path of Heroes Academy, poha.geekpsychology.com, and get into that course. It's been called life-changing, and there are tons of great reviews and testimonials on the page as well that you can read too. Remember that every big achievement started as a thought. And what separates dreams from reality is having the audacity to actually like wake up and do it, to take the actions necessary to put that dream into real life, to infuse your reality with the pixie dust, the dream dust. And as an INFP, you are blessed with this gift of endless curiosity and dreaming and idealism and wanting the world to be a better place, wanting humans to be better. So by setting a clear vision and breaking it down and creating actionable steps and scheduling them and making progress on them, you can slowly change your dream world into your reality. And that is an amazing feeling, not just for you, but for your community, for the people around you, or for the niche weirdos like us who are really interested in some specific corner of the internet. And that can make all the difference to you and to your community and to the world. So get out there and make your dreams a reality.